Howdy kids, it's me Bob Harris, senior editor of FootballDiehards.com. Time for the Week 13 injury preview, review, update, overview thing I like to do. And I hope you enjoy watching it, get you up to speed on all the news, big news, injury issues, questionables, game times, decisions, etc. Kind of run through them in chronological order so you have an understanding of the fallbacks you might need to have in place if you want to roll with any of the injured players or give it a shot at rolling with them. And of course, big news this week, Kareem Hunt has been released by the Kansas City Chiefs. That happened Friday night, just a few hours after a video was released by TMZ Sports showing Hunt involved in an altercation in a hotel with a woman who was knocked down. He kicked her. Look, you can go and go to the late breaking updates section of the site and roll through the Kansas City updates. The first one on Hunt, you'll see that the video is linked to. You can make your own decisions. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to tell you Spencer Ware is now the starting running back of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a guy they have a lot of faith in, a guy they've had some success with, and I think they have I think they trust him to handle a Kareem Hunt-like workload, especially against Oakland tomorrow. So play him as if you were, if you've been holding him as a handcuff, time to use him. The Baltimore Ravens are at Atlanta. For the Falcons, everyone's off the injury report. That's Calvin Ridley had elbow and ankle issues. Matt Bryant had a back issue. He's going to kick. They didn't bring anyone up off the roster, so everyone's good to go. Deion Jones, the linebacker, could return. The Falcons could use that. I don't know if it'll be much help there. It really lacks against the running backs and the rushing attack of the other team. So it's interesting to note Lamar Jackson will be the starting quarterback again. Joe Flacco listed as doubtful, was back on the practice field this week. Seems like it won't be until next week it gets interesting. If the Ravens keep winning, I don't know if it'll ever get interesting, at least in terms of the quarterback competition. I think Lamar Jackson will hold on to this job as long as they're winning, certainly. We'll see if Flacco can make it interesting. Beyond that, Gus Edwards listed as questionable. Observers, like Jameson Hensley of ESPN, said that Thursday and Friday he watched the open portion of practice. It's basically the 20 minutes before they get intense, but it looked to him like Edwards was moving around without any difficulty, so maybe the questionable designation and the light workload in practice had more to do with those 40 carries plus he's had the last 2 weeks. But it gets intriguing behind him because Alex Collins was placed on injured reserve Saturday morning. Kenneth Dixon, promising young running back who's had trouble staying on the field, has been promoted from IR. He's worked with the team the last week or two and is ready to be on the active roster. We'll see if he's active for the game tomorrow. They also have Ty Montgomery, who played a role, started getting some work last week with Collins out. And Buck Allen is still there. But my guess is Gus Edwards, there's a reason he's had 40 carries and some odd carries over the last 2 weeks because they like him. And he's a good fit with the offense they're running with Lamar Jackson in there. So assuming he's active, I'll be playing him as I normally would. Indianapolis Colts, Marlon Mack, listed as questionable, coming off a concussion, worked fully Friday. He's going through the concussion protocol. We'll likely hear something, if not today, about final clearance, then certainly in the 90 minutes leading up to kickoff. If he doesn't go, it'll be Naheem Hines, Jordan Wilkins, maybe Jonathan Williams gets some shots too. But in general, Mack seems to be trending in the right direction after a full practice Friday. At tight end, Eric Ebron, off the injury report, good to go. Jack Doyle, on IR, will not play again this year after injuring his kidney against the Dolphins last week and spending time in the hospital this week because of it. Eric Swoop, listed as questionable with a knee issue. It's been ongoing. He's missed some time because of it. Ryan Hewitt, off the injury report, missed time with an ankle injury. Mo Alley Cox, the occasional touchdown dart, is ruled out this game due to a calf injury he suffered last week that kept him out of last week's game as well. It suffered in practice prior to the Miami game. So there you have it. So Eric Ebron, good to go. Jack Doyle, not. The two guys you're interested in. Chester Rogers added to the injury report, wide receiver on Friday with a groin issue. Never a good sign when a guy shows up on Friday. T.Y. Hilton removed from the injury report on Friday. He had a groin issue earlier in the week. Looks like he'll be good to go, which is good news on the other side of the ball. Maybe Jalen Ramsey, listed as questionable, not clear if he'll play. Doug Marrone sounded a little pessimistic about it early in the week, but it sounds like maybe Ramsey has a shot at it. One who doesn't, Leonard Fournette, will not play this week, serving a one-game suspension for the fight he engaged in Buffalo the week before. That means Carlos Hyde and TJ Yeldon will get the bulk of the workload at running back. Assume Hyde will be the early down hammer and TJ Yeldon will be handle the receiving kind of role. I think he might be a viable play in PPR leagues if you're in a pinch. So there you have that. DJ Chark, the rookie wide receiver, has been ruled out this game. Chicago Bears are at the New York Giants. They'll be playing without Mitchell Trubisky again. He's listed as doubtful. He was on the practice field this week, didn't throw much, maybe a little bit on Friday. They're being very cautious with him, and they should. Chase Daniels, very competent, will continue to start. He's been well versed in the offense. And unlike last week when he kind of had to come in cold on a short week, he has a full week of preparation. So I think the Bears are fairly confident in where they're at their quarterback situation. Granted, it's not ideal without Trubisky. Benny Cunningham, the reserve running back special teams player, listed as doubtful with an ankle injury. Evan Ingram on the other side of the ball has been ruled out, which is kind of good news, right? I mean, last week he hurt himself in pregame warmups. They didn't even announce that he was injured until into the middle of the first quarter, so that kind of hosed a lot of Ingram owners. Rhett Ellison will continue to be the primary tight end in his absence this week. Devin Funchess for the Carolina Panthers at Tampa Bay is listed as questionable. Ron Rivera said he would have been probable had they still used that designation. They don't. It's questionable, doubtful, or out. So one of the issues early this week sounded like personal issues were in play. Turns out that maybe he had a child, so that might explain that. Either way, the back issue seems to be minor, and he'll be back in the mix. But DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel kind of established themselves in recent weeks, and they should continue to get their opportunities to make plays. So if you were planning on playing, especially DJ Moore, feel free to go ahead. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, people. They're great, they've been easy to move the ball on for the most part. Other side, so have the Panthers, by the way, the last 3 weeks. So good news for Jameis Winston. Deshaun Jackson will not play, however, ruled out with a thumb injury. He got a second opinion on it early in the week, returned to Tampa, was on the practice field wearing a cast, never caught the ball. So that's good news for Adam Humphries, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Cameron Brate. Great matchup against the slumping Panthers defense without Deshaun Jackson. The Miami Dolphins, a little complicated at wide receiver for them, hosting the Buffalo Bills. Devontae Parker listed as questionable with the shoulder injury he's been playing through, did last week. I'm guessing he will again, but he is listed as questionable. Have to watch. Danny Amendola listed as doubtful, did not practice all week with a knee injury. They're still calling him a game-time decision, but he is listed as doubtful. That said, Devontae Parker is one of the few players who's played the last 2 years. I think he's done it twice after getting a doubtful designation, so it's not like it's impossible for Dolphins. We'll have to see. Beyond them, it's Kenny Stills, Bryce Butler, Leonte Carew, Isaiah Ford, so they can use all the help they can get. AJ Derby listed as questionable with the ongoing foot and knee injuries. A tight end, haven't seen much of him this year, and hasn't really been a factor. On the other side of the ball, Derek Anderson's ruled out. Josh Allen will be starting, no big deal there. Charles Clay is also questionable, hasn't played for a couple weeks with a hamstring injury. It's given a chance for guys like Jason Kroom to step up. And other receivers have there. Robert Foster and Isaiah McKenzie, both, kind of flashing at times with Josh Allen. So may see a slow changing of the guard there heading into next year, which is not great for this year, but something to hang our hat on heading into next season. The Los Angeles Rams will be taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Rams, Todd Gurley's fine. Tweaked his ankle in the Chiefs game and kind of limited his role, but he's not on the injury report at all this week. They could get Aqib Talib, the cornerback, back this week as well. The Lions are a mess. Kerryon Johnson, of course, is out with a knee injury. Might miss another game or two after this. Marvin Jones done for the year, placed on IR. So that leaves an already depleted receiving core. Will be further depleted. Brandon Powell is out with I think it's a calf injury. Bruce Ellington, the guy who's been playing the wide receiver 3 spot, is listed as questionable now with a back injury. So that's one to watch there. Mike Roberts, the tight end, is doubtful with a shoulder injury. Luke Wilson would be the other receiving option there. So that's something to watch. Of course, LeGarrette Blount and Theo Riddick will play major roles in the backfield without Kerryon Johnson. Riddick, without the with the depleted receiving core, is also a factor there. Kiki Qt for the Houston Texans hosting the Cleveland Browns. Listed as questionable. Didn't make it through the entire game last week. Look, the hamstrings have been an issue for him since week 2. Actually, before that. And he hasn't played much this year. And when he has, like last week, it was a little bit dicey. So he left in the third quarter. So that should be factored into your decision on him. The other side of the ball, David Njoku off the injury report. He's been dealing with a knee injury, but has played through it without any issue. This week, he's off the injury report on Friday. Randall Cobb for the Green Bay Packers hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Looks like he's on track to return this game. Seemed to indicate he was. Hasn't played a lot this year. Wonder what his role will be upon return. Does he move right back into the top of the rotation alongside Devontae Adams, or have Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Equinemius St. Brown? Say those names 3 times fast. Seem like they're establishing roles. The other side of the ball, Chad Williams is questionable. He hasn't played for a couple weeks with an ankle injury. you should not be overly interested in him. The outliers on the Arizona receiving corps are not of great fantasy interest. Breaking news here. Okay, late afternoon kickoffs. Sam Darnold listed as questionable against the Titans. Todd Bowles said earlier this week the healthiest quarterback would play. Right now, Josh McCown is the healthiest quarterback. He has a thumb issue. He came off the injury report on Friday. Darnold remains questionable. They both worked on a limited basis. We'll see. I wouldn't be forcing anyone into the lineup. Although Robbie Anderson listed as questionable with an ankle issue. Fast receivers have been able to get behind the Titans at times this year, so he will be worth watching, especially if McCown plays. Bobby Gomes on the site is really keen on Anderson if McCown plays, so that's worth noting. Martavis, Kansas City Chiefs, of course, Kareem Hunt out, Spencer Ware in. Sammy Watkins also out, so Chris Conley moves up in the rotation alongside Tyreek Hill and with Travis Kelce. The other side of the ball, kind of interesting. Martavis Bryant didn't practice at all this week, but he's listed as questionable. My guess is he won't play this week. I don't know that you need to force him into your lineups if he is playing, but the Raiders are going to need to be playing catch-up if they can't establish rushing attack early to keep keep the Chiefs off the field. The Minnesota Vikings at New England. Stephon Diggs listed as questionable. Didn't practice all week with a knee issue. He says he'll play. The reporting of local observers is he'll play, so it's trending positive. I think his presence helps Adam Thielen, who's off the injury report. So Xavier Rhodes is also questionable for the Vikings. It would be great news for the Patriots if he could not play. So watch that for the Patriots. Everyone's off the injury report. Everyone we're interested in. Dwayne Allen we're not interested in. So Sony Michel good to go. Rob Gronkowski good to go. Tom Brady good to go. Everyone's good to go, including Rex Burkhead. We'll see what kind of role he has. It might be a little bit worrisome if you're a Michel or White owner, but don't know how Burkhead will work into the mix coming off his first week back off IR. For the San Francisco 49ers at Seattle, Pierre Garçon and Marquise Goodwin both ruled out. Goodwin's dealing with personal issues. They're not talking about a lot. Hasn't been with the team. He met with coaches on Thursday. Kyle Shanahan basically said, look, we're not going to tell you what's going on. It's up to him to tell you what's going on. Been some cryptic posts by him on his Instagram and Twitter, suggesting he's going through some difficulties. So there you have that. Garçon is a candidate for IR right now, has ongoing knee issues. Shanahan said they will consider that. Dante Pettis, Kendrick Bourne, those guys move up in the rotation again. So that's worth watching. Also worth watching Jeff Wilson, the running back, has kind of seemed last week certainly moved ahead of Alfred Morris, who was a healthy scratch. So that's one to watch as well. Matt Breida off the injury report late this week. For Seattle, CJ Prosise is out with an abdomen injury. J.D. McKissick is eligible to return this week, and they've added him to the active roster. Doesn't mean he'll play, but that would add to an already convoluted backfield, right? Trey Madden, the fullback, is listed as doubtful with a chest injury. For Sunday night, Melvin Gordon is ruled out with a knee injury. Sprained MCL. Sounds like he'll miss multiple games. I'm sure some of this will have to do with how successful the Chargers are going forward against Pittsburgh. They will start Austin Eckler. Justin Jackson, a rookie, will be available to chip in, but Eckler should be the primary guy. Should be a great PPR play. Tyrell Williams also questionable in this game. Sounds like a game time decision, but he seems to be trending in a positive direction. The other side of the ball, everyone's good to go. Xavier Grimble had a concussion, but he came off the injury report on Friday. The Monday night game, guys, keep on the radar. It looks like Chris Thompson will return for the Redskins. He practiced fully on Friday and seems to be trending in a good direction, coming off broken ribs. Adrian Peterson, they're going easy on his shoulder in practice. I would expect him to start and play as usual. If Thompson's there, it works in Peterson's favor. He does maybe a little better with a lesser workload, or at least a lesser pounding. Jamison Crowder listed as questionable. Not clear if he's ready to come back or not. Trey Quinn, the rookie wide receiver, also has an ankle injury. And I said questionable for Crowder. Questionable whether he'll return or not. The designations will be out later today. You'll want to watch for those in the late breaking news section. Jordan Reed has been limited by a back issue. My guess is he'll continue to play through it. Other side of the ball, Darren Sproles is back at practice. Seems like he has an outside shot at returning this week. That's something you'll have to watch for as well. So there you have it. Hit the main page of the website. Today, Sunday, through kickoffs, all kinds of great stuff there. Columns by all the usual suspects, including myself, Justin Linero, John Lobb, Armando Marsal, Bobby Gomes, Jen Ryan's Excel file, JJ Buck, David Hunter, Brad Cruz. The whole crew is there, so go check that out. Follow up through Sunday morning. We'll have all the updates. Armando and Bobby Gomes will be doing their pregame show, video show, interactive, asking all your questions. You can listen to me tonight on SiriusXM NFL Radio at 8 to 11 with Mike Dempsey. We'll be talking fantasy. I have Matt Harmon from Yahoo on. You can listen to me Sunday on the SiriusXM Fantasy pregame show with Jeff Manns. You can listen to me and Mike Dempsey every day of the week, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 p.m., 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern on the SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. And tune in every single week to the Football Diehards right here on the website. Tons of good information, and we'll be up through all the kickoffs tomorrow and keep you on top of all these stories. So good luck this week. Lucky week 13. Let's go.